Now into some of the sad news that we have left with this past weekend. We are going to have to talk about now the mass shootings that happened over the weekend. So yeah, buckle in. Content warning, this is your only warning. That's what we're going to talk about, and that's what we have to, because it is part of the news and it is important to understand why this happened for us, and also talk about how to potentially prevent it. So by now, unless you lived under a rock, you're aware of the mass shootings at the only black-run grocery store in Buffalo, New York. 10 people were killed and 3 were injured. 11 of those people were black. The shooter, an 18-year-old self-identified white supremacist, whose name the Roundup will not be reporting, wrote a 180-page manifesto. He included a chart claiming that Fox Corporation's predecessor, 21st Century Fox, was run by Jews, and accusing Rupert Murdoch of being secretly Jewish. The shooter posted photos of 34 individuals, all Fox News executives, anchors, reporters, or contributors who are either Jewish, have a Jewish spouse, or is a Christian Zionist. The screed also referred to what's known among radical right-wing organizations and media as the Great Replacement Theory, an unsupported belief that powerful forces are trying to replace white Americans with newcomers of color. There's a lot of social media conversations happening about the replacement theory, which Tucker Carlson has referred to more than 400 times since 2016. Let's talk about that for a few minutes. Now, the Great Replacement Theory originated in the early 20th century with French nationalist Marcy Bars. It was popularized in 2011 with the publication of French author Ramoud Khamis, who theorized that the native white population of Europe is gradually being replaced by non-European immigrants, which will eventually cause the extinction of the native population. The theory aligns with, and is in part of, the larger white genocide conspiracy theory, and was quickly promoted by white supremacist movement. And, of course, part of the reason why they say this is because, well, it's what white people did. Now, the Great Replacement Theory has gained popularity among the American right wing. It's also stimulated the far right to commit domestic terrorist crimes. Their crimes lie in the insecurity and anger of Anglo-Saxon community that can be credibly attributed to a fear of losing their perceived historical social status to people of color. This is an identity crisis created by the drastic changes in the economic, social, and cultural structures of the United States. First, since the 1970s, the economic focus in the United States has shifted from manufacturing to services. The development of globalization, the economic and social status of traditional white people as blue-collar workers has declined. At the same time, economic policies in the U.S. led to a new wave of highly skilled immigrants. Second, in order to better integrate immigrants into society, the U.S. Democratic government has implemented a policy of multiculturalism, which white supremacists perceive as a threat to traditional Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture. Third, the low birth rate and aging of the white population in the United States has challenged their status. Today, as partisan politics become increasingly polarized, U.S. right-wing politicians and media are frequently using the Great Replacement Theory to attract voters and audiences. And as a result, this propaganda has enabled this theory to become mainstream. Simultaneously, several realities and incidences, like the growing social inequality during the COVID-19 epidemic, the Black Lives Matter movement, and the Capitol Hill riot on January 6th, have driven the right wing to continue growing in the United States. A lot of attention is now focused on the links between Buffalo mass shooting and the propagandists of the Great Replacement Theory. U.S. society is also starting to reflect on the negative effects of the outspoken support that certain politicians and media figures have voiced for this theory. Although the United States government may increase its efforts to crack down on crimes related to far-right extremism, it is highly likely that there will still be a market, an audience for the replacement theory for a very long time. The internet and social media also provide convenient conditions for the spread of far-right ideologies and far left, to be fair, while the development of far-right extremism in Europe will have a spillover and linkage effect to the United States, pushing the far right to grow even further globally. If America's current Democratic majority government, if America's current Democratic majority government enhances the crackdown on the far right, it may face serious resistance from them, which will lead to even greater racial conflicts and social divisions. The Buffalo shooting is a microcosm of America's social crisis. Continuing on, for his part, Tucker Carlson pointed out the terrible violence under President Joe Biden, saying that 102 Americans were shot to death over the last 2 days. And at another point, this is Tucker Carlson's take, mind you. And at another point, he tried to distance himself from the Great Replacement theory he's peddled on his show for years. Carlson spent years publishing the idea, and a New York Times investigation found that he had promoted it more than 400 times, explicitly, by name, on his program since he joined Fox primetime lineup in 2016. But Carlson Tuesday said he's still unsure what that conspiracy theory is. You've heard a lot about the Great Replacement theory recently. It's everywhere. We're still not exactly what it is, the host said Tuesday. This is incredulous, okay? Tucker Carlson has been saying that the Democratic Party has a goal of importing immigrants that will, for whatever reason, be liberal, to replace conservatives and make the United States into a liberal leftist utopia, or dystopia if you'd asked him. This is fucking nonsense. Straight up fucking dog shit, trog shit of a take. Anybody that believes this doesn't know any immigrants. Full stop. Immigrants are not necessarily going to be more conservative, but they're not going to be more liberal either. They reflect the areas from which they come from and their own desires and the like. When it comes to immigrants from Eastern Europe, in South America, Central America, these people tend to be more socially conservative. They're on the same team with Republicans when it comes to like gay rights, abortion, and oftentimes, especially if they come from a prior socialist regime that had issues economically, they're anti-socialist. Like, Republicans can seem to like lift up like African immigrants for not playing into the whole race narrative, victim narrative, and things like that. People from Jamaica and the like, they seem to like these people that are very much conservative and hold them up and be like, look, why can't you be like these people, right? But at the same time, they're going around and promoting this bullshit because it gets them money. And in the case of Tucker Carlson, I have no reason to believe he doesn't actually believe this. It's one of those things. If you shit where you eat enough, you're eat. Or no, what is it? It's the ironic goat fucker. How many times can you ironically fuck a goat before you're just a goat fucker? Shout out to Pope Hat. Like 400 times, dude. You can't play this fucking game. You think that your audience is stupid, and that's why you're trying to pull this one on them. It's fucking terrible. Terrible. It is ripping at the social fabric of the United States and making the United States into more of a tinderbox. And it makes sense that these incidences of, right-wing reactionaries actually going around killing people across the globe because the shooter basically cut and pasted a lot of the fucking Christchurch shooter's manifesto. Completely just ripped it off, right? That if you're smuggling it in to mainstream Republican orthodoxy, then why should I not think that you're an evil piece of shit? Answer that one for me. I just don't fucking get it. So a comment coming in from maybe it isn't me said his audience is that stupid though. At least those who are not watching for the train wreck laughter. Maybe some of them are. I'm not going to try to paint that broadly of a brush. Okay. That's just me. But I mean, you got to tell him that. Like, he thinks you're fucking stupid. He thinks that you have the intelligence of a 10-year-old and the memory of a goldfish. It's incredulous. Not only that, Without any trace of irony, he then launched into a long rant about Democratic plots to encourage immigration to win elections, a key tenet of the conspiracy theory, on the same fucking program. Fucking can't, dude. This is... Tucker Carlson, if for whatever reason that you come across this, eat shit. Okay? Take a big dump. Actually, eat your own shit, because that's what you're doing. Continuing on, and this is a quote from him. Here's what we do know for a fact. There's a strong political component to the Democrats' immigration theory. We know this because they've said so. They said out loud, we're going to do this because it helps us win elections. I don't know where he got this from. I've never heard this. In fact, every liberal and Democrat that I know, and leftist that I know, is actually a little worried that if we do the right thing, we're going to lose elections more because they're more conservative, by and large. Social conservatism, like America socially, all right, on a whole host of issues, is center right. And by center right, I mean, like, maybe they're okay with gay people marrying and doing that stuff, but they don't want their kids to learn about it until they're like adults, right? Maybe they think, you know, black on black crime is a problem and that needs to be addressed by black people, and, you know, it's not white people keeping them down, stuff like that, right? And abortion, religion, all these things that make America more center right than other countries when it comes to social policy. Immigrants follow this trend, but people that are for immigration or for legal pathways to immigration and citizenship, or, you know, giving amnesty to millions of people that are here in the country, and getting them documentation and perhaps citizenship, you know, after fines or whatever. The reason why these things are desired isn't because it's going to win elections. Look at fucking Texas, right? Texas, the Latino population in Texas is split almost down the middle politically, 50-50. Hell, it might even be 60-40 going towards right-wing politics. Okay? Like, it's not being done for political gain. Maybe there are some people are trying to do it for political gain. Maybe they're thinking, if we do this, they'll vote for us. Maybe there's some people like that. But for the vast majority of people, it is wanting to be done simply because it is the right thing to do. And not only that with all this bullshit that happened over this weekend, but there are some people on the right that are insisting that this is another false flag attack, including dipshit Nick Fuentes, and Arizona Senator Wendy Rogers, who tweeted, "Fed boys' summer has begun." These people don't like America. They want some despotic, they want a despot to be in charge. They want a dystopian, what we consider dystopian. Nick Fuentes is a fucking Christian nationalist. He is a fascist. Hell, he might even be white supremacist. I say might because I don't know him well, okay? And with a name like Fuentes, a lot of people are like, well, you're not white, dude. That's what a lot of people are going to say on the right wing. All right? That's just a fact. All right? But he's a fucking fascist. And anybody that associates with him on a regular basis, that are his friends, that are part of this quote-unquote America First movement. I shouldn't have done that. America First movement? Yeah, that's better. Because, you know, he's a fucking dweeb. Are fascist. Like, if you're friends with a fascist, you're buddy with a fascist who's advocating for the expulsion of millions of people simply because they don't toe your party line, your ideological line, you're a fucking fascist. If you think there's a need for a violent revolution to get right-wing government, to create some sort of nationalistic government, whether it's ethnic, religious, or what have you, and you think violence is what you need to do to get there, if you're an accelerationist, like some people, then you're a fascist. Just own it. Say you're a fascist. Stop trying to hide. Stop trying to equivocate. Stop trying to say you're America first. You're not. You're a fascist. You're a budding despot that wants big daddy government to run your life, run other people's life in the way that you want them to. You just own it. Just own it, Tucker. Own the fact that you're a fascist. Especially when you're promoting these stupid fucking narratives. But that's not all, though, okay? This attack was live streamed on Twitch, this platform that we're using right now. Now, it was live streamed and removed in minutes by Twitch, okay? Because it's going to take minutes, because either the algorithm that can pick up, oh, this is a live shooting, okay, if that exists. I don't know if it does. I don't think it does, okay? But even if it is, it takes a minute for it to work, okay? Or it got reported. But once it's on the internet, it lives forever. And that video can still be sent and seen across the internet. Now, in a statement to CNN, Twitch said that it identified and removed the stream in less than 2 minutes. A video that was uploaded to Streamable accumulated over 3 million views. It could still be viewed an entire day after the shooting took place, according to a screenshot from Internet Archives obtained by the video game news site Kotaku. Even when the video was removed for violating Streamable's terms of service, it continued circulating around Facebook for up to 9 hours, the New York Times reported. Axios reported it was able to access clips of the shooting on Facebook as late as 11:30 p.m. on Monday night. Similarly, in 2019, after a gunman live-streamed his attack on a mosque in New Zealand's Christchurch region, on Facebook, the social media platform said it removed 1.5 million videos of the attack in the following 24 hours. Now, this isn't to say, okay, this isn't to say that these companies are at fault for not acting quicker. Twitch is able to remove a video and have it be gone off its platform because it is not getting shared and reshared on its platform. So once it was removed from Twitch, it wasn't on Twitch anymore. Once it was removed from if somebody was even restreaming it on their platform, once it was removed from the main platform, that restream on his Twitch channel would not be possible anymore. But once it is uploaded, anybody can right-click download that shit and post it again, which is why the shares on Facebook took longer. And Streamable, once it was up, I don't know much about Streamable. I can't comment about its particulars because I don't use the site. Okay, but Streamable seemed to be a little slow on the uptake. Facebook also slow on the uptake. But at least with Facebook, you can know that like multiple people are just sharing that. So you have to go through every single one. You have to develop an algorithm that can identify the video, and that takes time. You have to have your data scientist engaged and training the algorithm to pick up that specific video, to know exactly how it starts and how, its audio signatures and everything like that, so you can remove it automatically. But that still takes hours to write. At the best of programmers, hours to write. All right, and without the ability to do that, millions of people are just going to re-upload it because watching a train wreck, racism, morbid curiosity. Some people just get off on that shit. Like, it's disgusting. Don't get me wrong. I do not enjoy watching these videos. All right. Before Facebook, before all this stuff, there was gore.com. I think it was called gore.com. Was it gore.com or was it? Well, either way, after all these things were done, right? Like, this is not a new phenomenon on the internet. This has been since the internet came into existence. And so it is a problem, and it is a problem of scale and reshareability and reproducibility that digital media gives us as a people to do easily. Faces of Death had a limited run, right? Snuff films have limited runs before the internet. Now it is unlimited reproducibility. Right click save, okay? And that's a problem. And it's a thing that we have to determine as a society how we need to deal with. But one thing I can tell you is it's not a good way to deal with it, is the way that Texas might be trying to deal with censorship in general. Now, there's a Texas law that makes removing political content illegal. And Twitch could be sued in Texas for removing the channel of the Buffalo shooter under its new censorship law. Now, is it going to be? Is somebody going to actually take up this case and demand that this not have been taken down? Probably not. All right, this was too egregious for anybody to sweep under the rug after a few hours once it became known. Hell, I called out a person the day it happened. And they were sharing some things and trying to talk some bullshit that Tucker Carlson's not really racist and he's just talking about illegal immigration. And then he since came out and was like, okay, yeah, I was wrong. It was racism, right? Yeah, it was racism. Okay. He blocked me afterwards because I called him out on his bullshit. But it was even too egregious for someone like that to say for much longer that that's something that should be defended. But the point is, the reason that we're bringing this up is because violent, abhorrent, racist, bigoted content that is in the same Venn diagram or operating from the same sheet of music are things that Twitch would not be allowed to take down. And that is why we're bringing this up. So continuing on. Now, the gunman streamed the massacre, which is the deadliest mass shooting in the United States in 2022, on Amazon-owned streaming platform Twitch. The new law in Texas makes it illegal for any social media platform with 50 million or more US monthly users to block, ban, remove, deplatform, demonetize, deboost, restrict, deny equal access or visibility to, or otherwise discriminate against expression. It is unclear exactly what this terminology means. Again, these laws are written so vaguely to allow people to sue and have the courts figure it out, because what they really want to do, they want to chip away and they want to nickel and dime the companies into compliance, is what they want. Because they know if there's enough lawsuits, they will just acquiesce to save money, because they're still capitalistic. They still care about their shareholders. They're not stakeholders. Okay? That's why this language is always vague. Now, Twitch was estimated to have 40 million viewers in the United States at the start of 2020. A figure that has likely risen drastically as a side effect of the coronavirus pandemic. The new law, called HB 20, allows residents to sue social media sites, including Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, for allegedly censoring their content, and would force them to carry legal speech no matter how upsetting its contents. This is why I don't think that this particular law would apply to this particular case. But if it's legal, if you're saying let's cut down the tall trees like they did in Rwanda, okay? You're saying, hey, this person lives at XYZ. Maybe they should get a visit. That's legal in the United States, and that's in the same. It's on the same sheet of music. It's in the same vein that this kind of thing is. So HB 20 was successfully blocked by the U.S. Supreme Court late last year, but has been unblocked by an appeals court late last Wednesday without explanation. Its origin stems from a belief held by House Republicans that tech platforms discriminate against conservative views, something which technology companies have routinely denied and for which there is little evidence. There's little evidence, but they're going to say there's evidence because if your entire political ideology is surrounded by shitting on trans people and you shit on trans people, I'm not saying that's what Republicans are. I'm saying that this is an example. And you're shitting on trans people and you get blocked, banned for shitting on trans people, well, you're going to think it's being politically motivated. Now, in a strange appeals hearing before the court's decision, one judge claimed that Twitter, Facebook, and other social media websites are internet providers and not websites. Whatever works to get your political agenda through, I guess. God, fucking kill me with these people. Now, some have argued the bill is unconstitutional because it amounts to government-mandated speech. True. Texas HB 20 strips private online businesses of their speech rights, forbids them from making constitutionally protected editorial decisions, and forces them to publish and promote objectionable content, said Free Speech Trade Association NetChoice counsel Chris Mache in a press release. Not only that, it completely guts free association. The First Amendment prohibits Texas from forcing online platforms to host and promote foreign propaganda, pornography, pro-Nazi speech, and spam. But the First Amendment also protects content including vaccine disinformation, Holocaust denialism, and terrorist content. Democratic representatives put forward a carve-out so social media companies could take down such content, but a Republican House defeated that attempt. Because of course they did. It's either all or nothing. It's either all or nothing.